Tired of trying to figure out the constantly changing world of social media marketing on your own? Want to increase your business growth with proven, actionable tips and strategies? 500 Social Media Marketing Tips is your one-stop shop for expert tips, key insights, and new strategies for Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, LinkedIn, Pinterest, YouTube, Snapchat, TikTok, and more. 500 Social Media Marketing Tips is written for busy business owners like you. It is a complete book full of expert advice written in simple English with no filler. Focus on one social network at a time or pick any page at random to learn new things that will help your business grow. You will find out why your business needs a marketing plan for social media, the most important parts of a social media marketing plan that works, what content works best on social media and how to make it. There are a lot of things you can do to get more followers and grow your audience. How to get the attention of your ideal customer with words, pictures, stories, and live video. How to use paid advertising to make your content more powerful and reach a large audience, among other things. Ready to unlock your social media potential? Andrew McCarthy's book, 500 Social Media Marketing Tips, Essential Advice, Hints, and Strategy for Business. Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and Pinterest is a complete guide for businesses to using social media to market themselves. The book is split into 5 parts, and each one is about a different type of social media. Part 1. Facebook. Chapter 1. Getting started with Facebook. This chapter explains how to set up a Facebook business page and how to make it work better to get more followers and promote goods and services. Chapter 2. Building your Facebook audience. This chapter looks at the different ways businesses can grow their Facebook following and gives tips on how to make content that people will want to share. Chapter 3. Facebook advertising. This chapter goes over the basics of advertising on Facebook and shows how businesses can use advertising to reach more people and promote their goods and services. Chapter 4. Facebook Insights. This part talks about how important it is to use data and analytics to look at how Facebook is doing. It also gives tips on how to use Facebook Insights to improve content and results over time. Part 2. Twitter. Chapter 5. Getting started with Twitter. This part tells you how to set up a Twitter account for your business and how to make a profile that people will want to follow. Chapter 6. Building your Twitter following. This chapter looks at the different ways businesses can get more people to follow them on Twitter and gives tips for making content that people will want to share. Chapter 7. Twitter advertising. This chapter goes over the basics of advertising on Twitter and shows how businesses can use advertising to reach more people and promote their goods and services. Chapter 8. Twitter analytics. This part talks about how important it is to use data and analytics to look at how Twitter is doing. It also gives tips on how to use Twitter analytics to improve content and results over time. Part 3. Instagram. Chapter 9. Getting started with Instagram. This part tells you how to set up an Instagram account for your business and how to make a profile that people will want to follow. Chapter 10. Building your Instagram following. This part looks at the different ways businesses can get more followers on Instagram and gives tips on how to make content that people will want to share. Chapter 11. Instagram advertising. This chapter explains the basics of advertising on Instagram and shows how businesses can use advertising to reach more people and promote their goods and services. Chapter 12. Instagram analytics. This chapter talks about how important it is to use data and analytics to look at how Instagram is doing. It also gives tips on how to use Instagram analytics to improve content and results over time. Part 4. Pinterest. Chapter 13. Getting started with Pinterest. This part tells you how to set up a Pinterest account for your business and how to make a profile that people will want to follow. Chapter 14. Building your Pinterest following. This chapter looks at the different ways businesses can get more fans on Pinterest and gives tips for making content that people will want to share. Chapter 15. Pinterest advertising. This chapter talks about the basics of advertising on Pinterest and shows how businesses can use advertising to reach more people and promote their goods and services. Chapter 16, Pinterest Analytics. This chapter talks about how important it is to use data and analytics to look at how Pinterest is doing. It also gives tips on how to use Pinterest analytics to improve content and results over time. Part 5, General Social Media Tips. Chapter 17, Social Media Strategy. This chapter talks about the basics of making a social media strategy and gives advice on how to make a clear plan that fits with business goals. Chapter 18, Content Creation. This chapter looks at the different kinds of content that businesses can make for social media and gives tips on how to make high-quality, interesting content that people will want to share. Chapter 19, Engagement and Interaction. This chapter talks about how important it is to interact with followers on social media and gives tips on how to answer comments, messages, and other forms of interaction in a real and interesting way. Chapter 20, Measuring and Analyzing Social Media Performance. This chapter talks about how important it is to use data and analytics to look at the success of social media, and it gives tips on how to use different analytics tools to improve content and results over time. In 500 Social Media Marketing Tips, Essential Advice, Hints, and Strategy for Business, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and Pinterest, Andrew McCarthy gives a complete guide to social media marketing for companies. The book talks about a lot of different things, from the basics of setting up social media accounts to making content that people want to read and figuring out how well it did. The author also gives tips and advice on how to build a following, use advertising to your advantage, and interact with your fans on different social media platforms. This book is a great resource for any business that wants to build a successful social media plan, whether you are new to social media or want to take your social media marketing to the next level. Thanks for watching our Amazon book review. If you found our review helpful and you're interested in checking it out for yourself, we've included a link to it in the description below. By clicking on that link, you'll not only get more details about it on Amazon, but also support our channel at no cost to you. So go ahead and click that link to grab your copy of the book and dive into an exciting reading journey. Happy reading, and thanks for your support.